What I'm about to share with you regarding Moldavite is very crucial that you take it very seriously. Um, Everything I'm about to tell you took place on September 12th, 2018. What I'm about to explain to you may seem surreal, may seem unbelievable. I don't care if you believe me or not. I just think it's very important. I think the world should hear this. I've been seeing a lot of Moldavite experience videos online, and I had my very own this past September 12th, and it is bewildering, to say the least. So, here it goes. Approximately, I'm going to start with how this whole thing started. Around 2 months ago, I got a spontaneous random thought that I should take my Herkimer diamond and carry it with me everywhere I go. So I did. I started feeling some positive effects and benefited from it. Noticed the effects about 2 weeks after carrying it around with me everywhere I went. Now, September 12th, I had gone for a walk, and something was very different. This happened on this walk. Something very peculiar happened on this walk, where I was listening to a song, and I was listening to a song called "The Fruitful Darkness" by Trevor Hall, and I all of a sudden I felt very interconnected with everything. All of a sudden, as I walked past people, I feel like I could read them and see them for who they were instantaneously, like I could see a situation for what it truly was instantaneously. I had the sensation where people walking by, I felt like I could push positive energy towards them and affect them that way. And I noticed this and observed this and thought that this was very peculiar. And I became feeling very interconnected and one with everything. This story only gets more bizarre from here on out. So buckle your seatbelt, folks. So this is where it starts to get bizarre. A random thought, other than my own, almost an intrusive thought, came into my head in the middle of this feeling of interconnectedness. This random thought came into my head that I should go and purchase a gemstone or crystal to carry around with me, along with my Herkimer diamond, to boost the effects and boost the frequency from my Herkimer diamond to double the potency of the beneficial effect of my Herkimer diamond. So I did. I dropped everything. I stopped my walk, and I went to this metaphysical store in my local area called Leaping Lizards. They do a bunch of palm readings. They do all kinds of stuff there. It's almost, looking back at it, it's essentially almost like a witch coven, little store. I had walked into the store and told the clerk while I was there, I told her how I wanted a gemstone to amplify the effect of my Herkimer diamond. She gave me a very odd and peculiar look. She goes, "I got just the thing for you." She pulls out this stuff, and she has a bunch of green rocks in packages, and she goes, "This is Moldavite. It's very special. It's extraterrestrial in nature." She goes, "This will do just the thing for you." And she goes, do you write with your left or your right hand?" I go, "My right hand." She takes the biggest piece of this Moldavite and places it in my right hand. And I close my hand around this rock, and I close my eyes, and I experience, I kid you not, an incredible surge of energy start in my chest and then shoot out the top of my head. And I open my eyes and I look at her and I just say, whoa. And then she just gives me this weird smile and says, I know, right? And this really took me back. This was very bizarre. I did not... This was totally new territory to me. That large piece of Moldavite was $84. I ended up buying a smaller piece. That was $32. She had given me a warning saying, be careful with this. Don't put it right in your pocket. Pick it up, put it down, adjust to it. Pick it up for 10 minutes, put it down for 10 minutes. She warned me. She gave me a warning. I didn't listen to her. I just put it straight in my pocket along with my Herkimer diamond. And I continued my walk. For a solid 30 minutes, I felt an incredible sense of dizziness, vertigo, nauseous feeling. My stomach felt as the sensation accompanied by a free fall plunge on a roller coaster for a solid 30 minutes. It eventually subsided. I finished my walk. In the meantime, I had been messaging my significant other at the time, sending her pictures of the crystals that I had bought, and telling her about it, and telling her how I had been feeling these sensations accompanied by the crystals. And she had expressed concern and said, I don't know about this. This seems new agey. And I was just shrugging it off. I dismissed her concern regarding the purchase. I'm going to fast forward to later that night when the very bizarro instance happened, where I'm just going to come right out and just say it, what ended up happening. I went to sleep that night and came under some sort of psychic attack where I was... when I say psychic attack in like a dream state, I cannot describe it unless you've experienced it. I can't describe what the sensation or what that actual experience is like, other than I can just say a psychic attack within a dream state. I had luckily been woken by my girlfriend coming home from her night shift, and I'm grateful that happened because it sparked in-depth conversation of the series of events that day pertaining to me obtaining the Moldavite. And we had been really like talking about it and stuff like that, that, and the back and forth and stuff like that. And I came to the realization what led me to go buy this piece of Moldavite was very peculiar. An almost intrusive thought, a thought other than my own, popped in my head out of nowheres. And I started to realize that I was quite literally lured and drawn to the store to make this purchase. And it was very peculiar. And I was starting to think that there was like something to this. Maybe there is something weird and new agey about this. Man, I ended up just being like leaving it as it was, and we both tried to go to sleep. And something very, very scary happened, where I had sensed an evil, dark energy, spirit, force, whatever you want to call it. It was very dark. It was the demonic force, energy, manifestation, whatever label you want to put on it. There was a dark energy force exactly where I'm located, right here in this apartment, in this video, was where I sensed it, and I felt it watching me while I was laying in bed. I could feel the actual location of where this thing was standing watching me. Okay, now when I say this, I'm going to describe to you what it feels like when you know a demon or a demonic entity or a dark force or manifestation is watching you. It feels like if you are walking in the middle of the woods and you know you're being watched and you can feel it and you can sense it and you look all around 360 degrees and then you find out that there's a half-ton Kodiak bear stalking you, and that utter guttural sensation and feeling that you just know you're prey. That's what it feels like. That's what it feels like when you know a demon is watching you. I sensed it, I felt it, I knew what was happening, and I tried to ignore it. I was praying, I was just waiting for it to go away. My girlfriend, she freaks out. She says, "Get rid of it. Throw that crystal out the window." And that at that very moment, I'm getting chills just talking about this right now. At that very moment, without hesitation, when I reacted like on an instinct, like a reflex, like the way you duck when something's thrown at you, I covered her with my arm, I grabbed my cross, and I shouted as loud and forcefully as I could, "The power of Christ compels you. You are not welcome here. Leave." I said that twice. The third time, I called on I asked Michael the Archangel to please help. And an incredible surge of warmth started in through my head and then spread throughout my whole body. And it was as if that warmth that poured in through my body, through my head, had pushed this evil, dark manifestation, demon, whatever you want to call it. It had that warmth that surged in through my head and through my body, that spread throughout my body, pushed this thing away. When I called on Michael the Archangel, pushed this thing away. It's never been back. Now, I've come to a lot of realizations what ended up happening that day. That dark forces had lured me to that purchase of that Moldavite, and that the Moldavite had opened me up to the astral plane. It had completely broken my grounds and basically opened me up to the astral plane. When I was carrying that Moldavite, it was the equivalent of me being a fire in the middle of a field at night and the coyotes being drawn to it like a moth to flame. That dark force was attracted to me because of the Moldavite, because of the frequencies that it was emitting. It put a target on my back. When people think of crystals, when they think of these things, they don't fully understand what they're doing. They think, some people may just think, oh, they're cool. We just collect them. They look nice. They have no idea of the implications of the vibrational frequencies that these are emitting and the potential things that they could be attracting, conscious or unconscious of this. I could have been, if I had not been aware to the extent of what was occurring that night, that dark demonic force could have really got me, could have really taken hold on me, and I could be in some big trouble right about now. I am glad that I was consciously aware of what was happening to the level and extent that I was able to call out to God to command the thing away, and that it was not able to affect me in that manner anymore. That experience was so deep and profound. I have not missed a single day of church ever since this experience. I have made this video not as a vlog. I've made this video as a warning that to be very careful when dabbling with crystals and new agey concepts, because you are opening doors to realms where, if you're not well equipped and you're not spiritually fit, you can get seriously, seriously injured. I'm telling you, that this Moldavite is not a joke. It is not a toy. It's not a novelty. And do some intense, serious research before obtaining said Moldavite. That's all I gotta say on this. Please heed the warning. Thank you very much. Namaste.